Hey guys, today's quick review is about a small basic multi-tool from Sanrenmu, and that's the 7098 LUE T5. As you can see, at first look, it looks very similar to another Sanrenmu multi-tool that I reviewed a few months back, the 7089. The overall shape is the same, the size is the same. What else? So yeah, basically looks very similar when we first look at it. So the blade here, the flipper, rope cutter and Phillips screwdriver on one side, and then bottle opener and flat screwdriver on the other. There are, however, a few differences and important ones. Unfortunately, I cannot put them side by side because I gave the 7089 to a friend of mine that liked it. So if you're interested in the previous multi-tool, the 7089, you can check back one of my older reviews. So first things first, so like I said, about the same size as the other one. The handle is the similar material to the other one, which is a mix of nylon and glass fiber. The texture of it is very nice. There is some, I know my camera kind of sucks, but there is basically like some smooth areas, and then a little bit some rougher areas that are a bit raised, so it actually feels really nice on hand, and it gives it actually a very nice look. So for the differences, this one has a glass breaker, and I believe the 7089 didn't have one. Another obvious difference is the blade shape. It is slightly different on this one. Basically, overall the blade shape is the same, except like the 7089 didn't have this wedge here. The wedge is actually quite nice for a few reasons. First, it gives the blade a very nice look, at least in my opinion. And the second is that it makes for a very nice spot to put your thumb, for a bit of a heavier cut. So that's a positive, at least in my opinion. So that's for the obvious differences. Now, another one that is actually extremely important to me. If you checked out my review of the other multi-tool, it was also a flipper, but the knife was a non-locking blade. And basically, when I opened it, I saw that it relies on two detent balls on each side of the blade for the retention of the knife. So although the previous knife had a flipper, if you check out my review, the flipper didn't work really well. It was just basically too much friction in order to deploy the blade. So it was useful as in order to just maybe deploy the blade a little bit and then finish to open with the thumb. This one is much better, at least in my opinion, because it's no longer a non-locking knife. This one is a liner lock knife, and the result of that is that actually we have a flipper that actually flips and works. So that's a very good point for me on this knife. So a lot of similarities to the previous tool, except that this one is a liner lock, so we can flip it very nicely. And now the second biggest difference, if you look, this one is much thicker, and the reason being that the reason is on the other side there is a saw, really nice, and the saw is also lockable, so it's also locked here, and we need to disengage the lock in order to close it. And the saw, actually it's really nicely made. The teeth are very aggressive and actually cuts really well. The only negative that I have about the saw is the thickness. For some reason that I cannot understand, the thickness of the saw is very small, and on top of it, a bit of QC problems, and is not even throughout the whole length. I measured with my caliper about 1 millimeter at the beginning, around 0.82 millimeters around the middle, and then about 1.3 millimeters towards the end. I say QC because I ordered two of those, one that I gave to my father-in-law, and his is about 1 millimeter all across, so he doesn't have this problem, but it's still very thin. I'm not sure the reason why Sanrenmu made this blade so thin. In my mind, there is absolutely no reason. There is a lot of space here available, and they could have easily made this blade 2 to 2.5 millimeters, basically closer to the width of the knife. And if they would have done that, that would have made for a much stronger saw, because I mean I wouldn't be confident about putting too much strength on this saw just due to its thickness. If they would have made this blade 2 to 2.5 millimeters, that would have been, in my opinion, one of the best small multi-tools that you can have. Basically, I mean, everything else is perfect. We have basically a full-size blade, 6.5 millimeters, deployable by flipper, liner lock. On the other side, we would have had a very nice saw if it would have been a bit thicker, and then towards the back you have like your basic multi-tools. Not a fan of the glass breaker, but I'm pretty sure that this could be removed if one wanted to. There is also a very nice pocket clip that works really well. So that's that's the only negative point that I have about this knife, is the thickness of the saw. Other than that, in my opinion, that would have been a pretty much perfect small multi-tool. So that's it for this knife. I highly recommend it. I wasn't extremely happy about the previous multi-tool, just because I didn't like the fact that the flipper didn't allow for the blade actually to flip, and I prefer liner locks, and this one solved this problem. And on top of that, you have gravy, you have a saw. Thin saw, yes, but a saw that works really well, it cuts really well. One last note about this knife. I bought it from Gearbest. It was really very cheap. I think it's something right now around like $12 or whatnot. Absolutely worth the price, no question about it. Just one thing to pay attention to: if you go to the Gearbest website and you type Sanrenmu 7098, you'll have a few different versions, and this one is the LUE T5. I say that because if you don't pay attention and you order the 7098 SUX, you will basically have a similar knife to the 7089, other than the fact that the blade shape will be different. And by that I mean, like, the 7098 SUX, it's a non-knocking knife and it doesn't include the saw. So if you like this tool, pay attention and order the LUE T5. That's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and if you're looking for a small multi-tool that has the basic stuff, nice blade, a good saw, and basic like screwdrivers and bottle opener and whatnot, and a pocket clip that you can use, I highly recommend this one. Okay, bye.